least, I would like to introduce Alan Kelly, who is currently the acting district attorney for Kennebec and Somerset County, Deputy DA. And he has been a part of this process from the very beginning, as has his whole department. And as I mentioned before, with us through thick and thin. I'd like to have you have an opportunity to listen to Kelly.
I've been a prosecutor in Kennebec and Somerset counties now for over 30 years, and it seems that every day during that entire time there's been either an example or a vivid reminder of the devastation that sexual abuse brings to its victims and their families. The pain and indignity of sexual abuse continue on long after the events themselves. So today is a day that many of us who understand that have waited for a very long time. As a community that spans 2 entire counties, we've come together to take a step forward, and it's a huge step towards better protecting our families and, most importantly, our children. The District Attorney's Office, as Donna said, has been committed to this CAC collaborative initiative from the very beginning, 2 years ago when we first met in February. Personally, as well as professionally, I'm very proud to have been part of the multidisciplinary team that's contributed to the creation of the interagency agreement and the guidelines for this project. Going back in time, when I first began prosecuting child sexual abuse cases, there wasn't a lot of help for us. There wasn't a lot of guidance for us in the investigation or in the prosecution of these cases. We did the best we could. Children were often interviewed multiple times by multiple people. There were law enforcement interviews, social service interviews, and sometimes follow-up interviews on top of follow-up interviews. Although we meant well, as interviewers we were not always well trained, and we did not understand the complexities of the issues that we were dealing with. The result were interviews that were not always reliable and oftentimes unduly traumatic to the victims. In essence, we were re-victimizing the very people that we were trying to protect. Over the years, I think we've gotten a lot better. We now have experience, we now have training, and we can better serve and protect those victims. With all the progress we have made, it still seems like there haven't been enough trained investigators, enough trained interviewers, or trained medical personnel to deal with these very special cases. And I think that everyone here knows that no matter what we do, it's not going to be good enough as long as children continue to suffer sexual and physical abuse, whether it's in the home or at the hands of predators. But there are things we can do and things that we must do. We must continue to try to make a difference for the victims and their families by reducing the impact upon them that the criminal and civil investigations, as well as the impact of the court process itself, brings them. This Children's Advocacy Center will help make that difference for the victims and their families. We need to make a difference for our law enforcement investigations with interviewers or with interviews that ensure reliable disclosures of abuse and medical and forensic examinations that are done quickly and effectively as soon as possible after the disclosure or other evidence of abuse arises. This Children's Advocacy Center will help make that difference for law enforcement. We need to make a difference for prosecution within the court system with evidentiary cases that are stronger and thereby more likely to hold offenders accountable for their actions and hopefully to spare victims the indignity of a trial. I believe the Children's Advocacy Center will help to make that difference in our ability to successfully prosecute these offenders. I, together with my office, have been dedicated over the length of my career to the prosecution of these cases and to the well-being of the victims of sexual abuse. It is my sincere hope and prayer that I will be able to take part and share in the future success of this Advocacy Center and everything that it means for the victims of abuse in our communities. And this is a very proud day.